If you're in the tax world, you definitely know the feeling. There used to be this predictable rhythm to the year. You'd prepare, you'd file, you'd recover, and then you'd do it all over again. But let's be real, that rhythm is long gone. Today, it feels more like a constant, unpredictable drumbeat of changes and demands. So let's dive in and see how the smartest firms are not just surviving, but actually thriving in this new reality.
This quote right here, it probably hits pretty close to home. The reality for modern CPA firms is that tax work is now a year-round, nonstop thing. New regulations can drop at any moment, client expectations for instant answers have just skyrocketed, and your internal teams, well, they're stretched to the absolute limit. The old answer was to just work harder, but the right answer is to work smarter.
So it's really crucial to understand what actually broke. Let's get into the diagnosis of why that old, predictable tax season feels like a distant memory. Okay, here's the absolute core of the problem. Tax laws have always changed. That's nothing new. But the sheer speed and the frequency of updates today, it's on a whole other level. These aren't just once-a-year things anymore. They're impacting filing positions and client conversations all year long. The issue is, most firm workflows were built for an older era, an era of predictable, annual updates. They just weren't designed for this constant stream of changes we're seeing today. And this disconnect creates something we can call workflow friction. Does any of this sound familiar? Workloads spiking out of nowhere, your whole team having to hit the brakes to figure out some new regulation, a flood of client questions right when you're at your busiest, and the result? Even your absolute best people are stuck reacting all the time, constantly putting out fires instead of getting ahead of them. Now, the knee-jerk reaction to all this pressure is often, we just need more people. But as we're about to see, just adding more headcount to a fragile system, it often makes things worse, not better. You see, this is what's so interesting. This slide really shines a light on why that just hire more people strategy falls apart. When your workflow is inefficient, you end up with senior partners stuck doing routine prep work. Knowledge gets trapped with certain individuals, creating these huge bottlenecks. So if that one key person gets overloaded or, heaven forbid, goes on vacation, the entire assembly line just grinds to a halt. You're not actually solving the problem, you're just throwing more people into a broken machine. And this brings us to a really fundamental shift in thinking. The most successful firms are no longer asking, who can we get to do more work? They're asking a much, much smarter question. How should this work flow? It's a total move from focusing on resources to focusing on the process itself. And honestly, this right here, this is the game changer. So, if the old way is broken, what does the new way look like? Let's pivot to the solution and see how we can build a path from that reactive chaos we've been talking about to a state of real proactive control. The path forward can actually be broken down into 3 pretty logical, manageable steps. You start with a really focused, high-impact task. Then you expand that to support the entire process. And finally, you integrate a system that creates continuous momentum. So let's just walk through how you get there, one step at a time. All right, step 1 is often the fastest way to get an immediate win. Tax form preparation. It's essential, of course, but it's also highly structured and repeatable. By outsourcing this one piece, you instantly free up your internal team. They stop being buried in paperwork and can finally focus on the high-value work clients actually pay for: the review, the analysis, the strategic advice. Your firm keeps full control, but that preparation bottleneck starts to disappear. Okay, so once you've streamlined the preparation, the next evolution is to look at the entire tax function. This is about way more than just one task. It's about improving the flow between every single stage, from compliance prep and extensions all the way to documentation. This is what reduces those awkward handoff delays and builds a consistent, predictable engine that runs smoothly all year long, not just in fits and starts during the busy season. Now this is where it gets really strategic. Just imagine your workflow continuing even after your team goes home for the day. By integrating offshore tax consultants, work keeps moving around the clock. Your onshore team logs off, and the prep work continues. They log back in the next morning, and work is sitting there ready for their review. This creates incredible momentum and dramatically cuts down on those last-minute, high-stress fire drills. You might hear terms like NLP and automation and think it all sounds super complicated, but it's really not. Just think of NLP as a smart assistant that can read tax documents and pull out the key data, slashing all that tedious manual work. The best part is, you don't have to become a tech expert. A good outsourcing partner builds these tools right into the process for you, so your firm gets all the benefits without any of the headaches. Okay, so we've redesigned the engine inside the firm. But what does this actually mean for the people who matter most, your clients? They might not see your workflow charts, but trust me, they will absolutely feel the difference.
And this right here is the payoff. When your internal systems are running smoothly, clients get faster turnarounds. They get more consistent, proactive communication. They stop getting those frantic last-minute requests for information. All of a sudden, that workflow friction you are feeling inside the firm, it just vanishes for the client. All they experience is a firm that's organized, proactive, and completely in control. Now, whenever we talk about changing a core process like this, questions naturally come up. So let's just tackle a few of the most common ones head on. First up, a question we hear all the time. Is this kind of workflow redesign just for the big, giant firms? The answer is a definite no, not at all. In fact, you could argue it's even more impactful for small and mid-sized firms. See, when you have a limited team, every single hour of efficiency you gain is absolutely critical. A smoother workflow reduces the strain and lets smaller teams punch way, way above their weight. Okay, this next one is super important. What about quality? Can you still control your own review process? And the answer is an emphatic 100% yes. This is not about giving up control, it's about gaining it. Your firm defines the entire process, the review checkpoints, the quality standards, everything. The outsourced team works within your system, not the other way around. You are always in the driver's seat. And of course, in our industry, no question is more important than this one. What about the security of your client's data? And rightly so. Any reputable partner operates under ironclad confidentiality and data protection rules. I mean, think about it this way. Their entire business depends on maintaining your trust. So their security standards often have to be even more rigorous than your own, just to safeguard that client information. So, as we wrap up, it really all just comes down to this one final question for you to think about. The complexity isn't slowing down. Client expectations aren't slowing down. Is the way you work today truly built to handle what's coming next? Or is it a relic of a simpler time, holding your talented team back from doing what they do best? The choice, ultimately, is yours.